Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucks. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. And as always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
What is going on, everybody? Happy hump day to you and yours. It is December 10th, 2025, and this is the Recher podcast. Hope everybody is having a wonderful day, whether you're here in the Tampa Bay area or abroad. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. A big thank you to our partners, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956 for all your commercial and residential needs, and of course EverHealth, everhealth.org. 17 different locations in Pinellas County. The EverHealth Injury Report tomorrow at 12:30 with Dr. Carlos Rodriguez. How's everybody feeling today? We're inching closer to Thursday night football between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. Plenty of Buccaneers talk today, including what the Buccaneers can learn from the Tampa Bay Lightning after what happened last night north of the border in Montreal against Les Habitants. And then what the signing of JPP means for the Buccaneers, and as well as why Baker Mayfield needs to step up. It is your time to be able to rise to the occasion. This is what the great players do. This is what we expect from them. And for all the great things that Baker has done, and listen, we love it. We are happy that he's here, no doubt about it. He's provided us with a lot of great moments during his tenure here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But with that being said, the time is now. The time is now. No doubt about it. All right. Erik Erlendsson will join us at 1 o'clock today as well, lightinginsider.com. Kind of a crazy week. Pendingo's playing tonight. Got final practice tonight for the 13-year-olds. And of course, we have the Beckles and Recher podcast today at 3:15 right here on this YouTube channel over at the Dignitary Cafe. So make sure you check that out. 4817 Southwest Shore Boulevard. We will be there if you want to come by for some kava, some kratom. Come check us out over there. We are ready to roll today, man. I'm excited. We also have an Encina joining us on the program, of course, tomorrow at 1:30. I know USF men's basketball is in action tonight over at the Yingling Center. So if you can head on over there and support, remember to go get your tickets. Go USFBulls.com. So we are ready to go, man. And of course, I always want to hear from you. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen. And if you ever want to join in via the video chat, whether you're on your phone or whether you're on your laptop, StreamYard.com/8M. JKHA7HS. There you go. So Benny with the Go Bolts, David Terry. Now that is the way I love to see my Bolts play. Let's make a habit. Great win for Liverpool as well. Janet Best, happy hump day. Nice game, Bolts. What's up, all? Love the Bolts whooping some Montreal ass. Rolly says, I saw Gunther today on First Take. Pretty interesting WWE content. He really is a throwback. JPP is here to save the season. All right. Dolan, at this point, Baker, she just called his own damn place because Josh Kearley. Oh, his own damn plays, not place, plays because Josh Kearley can't. Okay, I gotcha. And then Dustin, JoJo coming out big on the second half of the back-to-back. You got that right, buddy. And let's get right into it now. You know, when you look at what happened last night in Montreal at the Bell Center and going into, I think the Bolts are, 10-3, I think, in their last 13 games there. I remember when that was just a place of it was just so difficult for the Lightning to be able to win there in Montreal. And when you play the Canadians, how the officiating is. And we saw it in the beginning of the game as well, where it looked like it was one-sided, even though the Lightning were playing so much better than Montreal. But you look at that game last night and you watch how they were able to perform. Everything was going against the Lightning. Everything. And that's why I want to start today talking about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can learn a thing or two from the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I say this because these teams are both going through some obstacles, some trials and tribulations, but it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up, right? We've mentioned that in the past before. So when you're the Tampa Bay Lightning and you're on a 4-game losing streak, you're on the second night of a back-to-back where, if you listen to the broadcast, they were discussing about, even though it should be easy going from Montreal or Toronto to Montreal, it's not. Jonas Johansson's playing the second game of a back-to-back. You lose Victor Hedman in the first period, and it's not good from what I'm hearing. I don't know if it's going to be long-term. Their fingers are crossed, and I just hope that it's not something that is going to keep Heddy out for the Olympics. I know how much it would mean to him to play for Team Sweden. Obviously, we need him for the Tampa Bay Lightning. But there were plenty of reasons and plenty of excuses why the Lightning would come up short last night. Plenty. Again, 4-game losing streak, second game of a back-to-back. You lose your captain in the first period. You just haven't been playing all that well. Montreal's got a really good power play. And what happens? The Lightning dominate for 60 minutes last night, and they win 6-1. How do you do that? How do you do that when everybody's counting you out and everybody's saying, oh, well, not looking too good for the Lightning? There's an inner strength, there's a resolve that this team has that I would love to see from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers starting tomorrow night at Raymond James Stadium. The Lightning have dealt with just as many injuries as the Buccaneers have this year. You think about all the guys that have missed time already for the Bolts. Cooch, Point, Heddy, McDonough, Chernak, Vazzy. And, oh, yeah, I didn't mention that. Vasilevsky, McDonough, and Chernak weren't in the game last night either. So by the time that game ended, your number one goalie wasn't in there. Neither were your 3 top defensemen. Yet you went into Montreal, a house of horrors for you for so many years, and you win 6-1. Your back was against the wall, and they came out fighting. They came out punching and scratching and clawing, and they showed what they're made of, and they showed what they're all about. I think I speak for everybody in the Tampa Bay area when that's what we want to see from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't want to hear, what you don't hear from the Lightning, even amidst that 4-game losing streak? Anybody bitching and moaning and complaining about injuries. What does John Cooper say? Desperation. I want to see my team playing with desperation. He's not complaining that Heddy's not there. He's not complaining about McDonough and Chernak and Vazzy. Nobody gives a crap. You got to go out there and perform. You're professional athletes. I feel like we're falling into this malaise. We're falling into this, every single time something goes wrong with the Buccaneers, we have to make an excuse. Well, this guy's not feeling good. He's not 100%. And this coach hasn't had this and this bullshit. No way. No way. You got enough pieces to be successful. You're telling me that last Sunday against the New Orleans Saints, that having Emeka Egbuka and Chris Godwin and Baker Mayfield and Bucky Irving and Rashad White and Sean Tucker and Vita Vea and Antoine Winfield Jr. and Levante David and Zion McCollum and Tyke Smith for the most part, Jamel. You had all these players on your team that early on in the year when people said, why is this team good? Those are the names you're going to rattle off. I want to see something from the Buccaneers. Show me something. Show me some resolve. Show me some. I don't care who's lining up. You got to go out there and give effort, give juice. You never want to question the team's effort, because I think if you don't really try, you're going to get hurt. But there's always a little something. There's always a little extra oomph that you want to see from your team. And again, I just go back to what we've seen and what we saw on Sunday, and the just watching the Buccaneers on the sidelines. They look so unhappy to be there. They look so disinterested. They look so bothered by the elements of the rain and whether it was the bad calls or the opposition. Like, they just, It's such a bad taste that I have in my mouth watching that game on Sunday. I can't wait until tomorrow. It's the sort of general malaise that only the genius possess and the insane lament. Dr. Evil. I remember that one, Benny. So for everybody out there on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that wants to change what the narrative is, it starts with tomorrow night. It starts with the game against the Atlanta Falcons. And I mentioned this yesterday, and Ian talked about it, and we're going to discuss it today on the Beckles and Recher podcast. Like, I don't think the Buccaneers have earned any type of benefit of the doubt when it comes to you expecting them to win tomorrow night. They better freaking win. Because as we spoke about on the show yesterday, if they lose tomorrow night, heads are going to roll. Things are going to change. Things are going to change, and I think they do need to if that's the case. The beautiful thing about sports is they have the ability to turn around. They have the ability to kind of make up for what has happened the last couple of weeks and make you forget. As quick as it can turn one way, it can turn right back around the other way as well. But I think what a lot of people want to see from this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is just some effort, man. Show me some freaking effort. Show me that you want to be out there. Show me that you want to be a part of the solution and not the problem. Like, oh, God dang, man. If you're a Tampa Bay sports fan and you're watching this team right now, you look at what this Buccaneers team is all about and all the players that they have, and you say, why not? Why can't they turn it around? It's on them. Maybe we misjudged how talented they were and how good they were, but there are still good players there. I know a lot of people, I think that's part of the reason why it's so frustrating, is that there are good players there. They have to dig deep. They got to find a different version of themselves. They got to find a way to come out on top and to steer this thing right back in the right direction. And it's possible. Again, I go back to what happened last night. And you look at guys that you didn't know that you were going to rely on early on this season. And I look at a guy like Charles Wardestou, who scores another goal last night, who was a +5 playing in his home province of Quebec with all of his friends and family there to watch him. This is a guy that is 26, 27 years old, top defenseman in Sweden, top defenseman in the ECHL and in the Q, and never got an opportunity in the National Hockey League. He gets an opportunity this year with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and my God, he is making the most of it. Mike Kelly on NHL Network was singing his praises the other day, and he was spot on. This guy has been incredible. Where would the Lightning be without him? But he wasn't bitching and moaning and complaining. It just goes out there and he does his job. I look at another guy like Darren Radish. 2 goals last night for Ratty. And let's not forget, a couple of weeks ago, we were having a conversation about Darren Radish, about how he could be the odd man out, him and Gage Gonsalves. He could be the guy that they move on from when everybody's healthy. And what has he done? His dad is dealing with stage 4 cancer. Ratty and his wife just had a baby. He's looking at down the barrel of maybe this could be my last run with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And what does he do? What does he do? He turns it all around. He turns it all around. He's playing some of the best. I think he's playing the best hockey of his career right now. What is Darren Radish made of? What is he made of? That's the kind of guy I want to go to battle with every single day of the week. And every other guy on the blue line is playing much better. And I know Emil Lilleberg was another dude that was much maligned. And bro, he's solid as hell right now too. Crozier in there playing a physical game. You look at what J.J. Moser has done with Radish, with Dastu and Lilleberg. That pairings looked really good. And then you look at Hedman out there with Crozier, and then Hedman goes down. And then that defense with 5 guys last night and a backup goalie gives up 1 goal to the Montreal Canadiens. So I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear a damn thing about Kalijah Cansey's not here and this guy's not here and this guy's not there. Bro, I don't want to hear that. Step up. Step up. You want to be taken serious? Yaya Diaby saying before the season he wants to be considered an elite pass rusher. All right, bro. Let's see it. This team needs you. This team needs you to step up. I need to see you in your Darren Radish phase right now. Think about that. Vita Vea, you got a ring. You're one of the leaders of this defense. You have to play a game where you are dominant tomorrow night. There can't be any excuses from these guys that have been there. Jamel has a ring. Antoine has a ring. Vita has a ring. Like, you three guys, you have to step up. I mentioned the guys that didn't step or stepped up last night, some of the guys that you didn't know. But you know what also happened last night? Braden Point. What did I tell you yesterday on the show? This is why you need to tune in to the program. What did I tell you last night that the Tampa Bay Lightning needed to do? They needed to score first. That's what they did. And who did it? A guy that struggled this year, a guy that's been dealing with injuries, but he gets one little seam kind of down the right channel there in Braden Point, and he scores to put the Lightning up 1-0. That's what it's going to take. Everybody always talks about complimentary football this, complimentary football that. Let's see it. Let's see it. Don't just talk about it. Be about it. I am so out of my words phase of my life. I'm in an actions phase. Let me see what you're all about. Everybody says, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I don't want to hear that shit anymore. Show me. Darren Radish didn't say a damn thing. He went out there and played better. That was it. There's no magic serum. There's no potion that he ingested in the locker room and all of a sudden he's a better player and he scores 2 goals last night. Go out there and play better. The Lightning secondary guys did that. The Lightning's young players did that. And the Lightning star players did that as well. Nikita Kucherov stepping up. Braden Point stepping up. That's what you want to see. That's what we need to see from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No more of the excuses. No more of the bullshit. No more of the, oh my God, woe is me crap. If you continue with that mindset, you are going to be home come playoff time. That's it. That's not an opinion. That's fact. So whatever the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to do to draw inspiration, I don't care what you need to do. Just go do it. Watch a movie, read a book, watch the Bolts, talk to an old friend, do whatever it takes. I think I speak for everybody when I say that's what I want to see from the Buccaneers down the stretch. Show me some energy. Show me some effort. Show me some focus. I feel like I'm talking to my 13-year-old team. That's what I wanted to see from them all season long. We finished with a win. Energy, effort, focus. That's what we want to see from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down the stretch. If they do that, I think they can still make the playoffs. But they have a steep mountain to climb because they themselves put them in this position. But they still control their own destiny. You got to play Carolina twice. Right now, nobody believes that you can beat them. Not twice. Maybe not even once. They've shown going into Green Bay, winning that game, beating a Rams team that you couldn't do anything against. I'm excited. I'm passionate. I'm fired up about it because, the Bucs they're hanging right now on the precipice. They're hanging on the cliff right now. If they lose these games, they're falling into a pit, into an abyss where there is nothing but change and disdain down there. What does the future look like with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if they don't turn this thing around? Who the hell knows? They have an opportunity to change the narrative and rewrite what the story is supposed to be here in 2025. They're not going to be able to look outside. I don't care what the JPP signing has. We'll talk more about that in a second, but they have to look from within. These guys that are on the offensive line need to play better. A guy like Hassan Reddick, if he's out there Dude, you're brought in for one reason and one reason only, and that's to get to the quarterback. And if you're not doing it, then what the hell are you doing on this team? Everybody keeps telling me Yaya Diaby's going to be better. He's going to be better. He's going to be better with a guy like Hassan Reddick out there. Okay. I don't see it. Let me send the link to my guy Erlendsson. I forgot to do that. He joins us at 1 o'clock today. Double-eski. All right, there we go. Double E, the man. All right, so updates from Buccaneer practice today. All right, so practice at 10:10. Bull scheduled to talk to reporters at 11:30, so he will talk here in a bit. All right, so Bowles says that the only player on the 53-man roster that is ruled out is Servassier Dennis. Kate Otten and Tyke Smith will be doubtful. Everyone else is in play. Okay. So that means Tristan Wirfs. That means Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan. Good sign there. And what Greg's saying, almost everyone is practicing for the Bucs today. Servassier Dennis is not. Likely ruled out. We just heard that. Wirfs, Evans, McMillan, Reddick, Tyke, Otten, Izzy, and all going in theory in play for Thursday. Okay, so again, Todd Bowles said the only player on the 53 ruled out is Servassier Dennis. Kate Otten and Tyke Smith will be doubtful. Everyone else is in play. Lots of roster decisions in the next 30 hours for the Bucs. If Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan are back, they need to make moves to get them on the 53. If Otten is out, they likely need to elevate Tanner Tola as TE3. Could they try to get Connor Bazelak through waivers back to the practice squad? Okay. Todd Bowles also said with Servassier Dennis out, they'll likely use a platoon of Deion Jones and rookies Nick Jackson and John Bullock, depending on the package, will be the first real defensive snaps for the two rookies who have been busy on special teams. And we remember in preseason how good both of those guys were. And we were saying, okay, well, maybe that's why they felt so confident about the depth at the linebacker spot. And again, maybe this is an opportunity for some of these young guys to show that they need to be playing more. We've seen it with Charles Edwards too, right? We see it with Dominic James. We saw it with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So hopefully Nick Jackson and John Bullock, guys that are playmakers, maybe they can go out there. Maybe they can come up with an interception or pick up a fumble, something like that. When it comes to Mike Evans, Todd Bowles has said today he's shown everything he needed to show in practice to get activated and make his return Thursday against the Falcons. So with 4 games left in the season, all right, we're looking at Mike. And I know everybody's like, bro, how many yards does he need for 1,000? He's got 140. He needs 860. Mike Evans needs 4 straight games of 215 yards to do it. Oh, man. That's crazy. What if Mike had like a 300-yard game on Thursday night? Like, what if he just had like an epic 300-yard game where it's like he sets records and then he finishes with like 360 and he's at 500 and he needs 500 over the last 3 and he needs like that would be so strange. And he would need like $160 in each of the games. That's wishful thinking, of course, but getting him out there will be huge for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just another outlet for Baker Mayfield, another thing that the defense has to worry about. Todd Bowles also said if Tyke Smith can't go, he's confident that Christian Izien will be able to fill in capably at safety. He led them in tackles in Sunday's loss. And Christian Izien is another one of those guys that for the last couple of years, he's been that dude. He's kind of been like a Darren Radish, where he's not a starter, but man, he's a valuable player and he does a little bit of everything. And he is a guy that can play corner when you need him, play nickel when you need him. He can play deeper at the safety position. And You need guys like that are going to step up. And he's not bitching and moaning about not starting. Like, he just goes out there and he fills in. And again, he led the team in tackles last Sunday. He was a guy. I said yesterday or Monday, who can you really fault for how they played? And I gave love to the running back position. The only other person, when I went back and I listened to that, the only other person that I would give kudos to is Christian Izien, because you recognized him. You're like, there he is again. There's 29 again. Todd Bowles also said safety Rashad Wisdom is out, so the Bucs have to decide next week when his 21-day practice window is up whether to activate him or keep him on injured reserve for the rest of the season. So we're thinking, could it be the first time that we see these four receivers together on Thursday night? The first time that we see Evans and Godwin with McMillan and Ibuka with Baker Mayfield. We could. And think about how dynamic that can be. But let's keep things in perspective. We need to make sure that no matter what happens, that this team is running the football. They need Tristan back from this oblique injury. We know Ben Bredeson's on IR, so you're going to have two backup guards, but you'll have Gedeke at right tackle. You'll have Graham Barton at center, and you're going to have Tristan Wirfs at left tackle. Run the football. Run the football, utilize the play action, and then get everybody else involved. Mike and Chris and Emeka and Jalen, it'll be great to see those guys out there together. But defensively, I think that's where you got to step up. You got to step up. You got to get to the quarterback. Kirk Cousins is going to be under center. He torched the Buccaneers twice last year. We know that there's a lack of mobility for him. He's going to utilize the run game with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, and we know what they have in the passing game as well. And you don't think that Raheem wants to come to Raymond James Stadium and beat the Buccaneers? You don't think that he wants to thwart whatever Tampa Bay has going on? Not just him, but the entire Falcons organization. So I'm intrigued about tomorrow night. Because, again, I know I alluded to this before. Sports has a way of, you think you know what's going to happen, and then all of a sudden, boom, the opposite occurs. So, yes, we are 2 months removed from the Buccaneers being considered one of, if not the best team in the National Football League. And now the sky is certainly falling. It is cloudy with a chance of meatballs right here in the Tampa Bay area. The only way that this changes is if the team turns it around. They have the ability to do so. They have the experience. They have a record down the stretch. Like, as much as the Bucs are beatable over these last 4 games, so are the teams they're playing. I don't look at any of the 4 games, Falcons, Panthers, Miami, Panthers, and go, they can't win any of those games. They sure as hell can. They can go 4-0. Is it likely? Not from what we've just seen. But this just seems like this is a streaky club, and it has been since they have had Todd Bowles as the head coach. They're just streaky. You'd rather them be more consistent, but, this is just what they are. They seem to be streaky. So if they can get the train back on the tracks tomorrow, all right, now you're going into the matchup with Carolina and saying, okay, our destiny is in our hands. How are they going to rise to the occasion? Dustin asked the question, what should realistic expectations for McMillan be for the rest of the season? Not much, buddy. Not much. I am not putting a huge expectation on what J-Mac is going to bring. Here and there, you have to look at it like this. He's going to be better than most wide receiver 4s in the league. Probably one of the best. You're not expecting him to play 45 snaps. Just go out there, maybe a couple of catches on third down, right? Maybe in the red zone. That's kind of, and we saw down the stretch how important he was last year. And you're putting up numbers and they're invoking the name of Randy Moss. Like, that's the real deal. But just think about who he's going to be facing. If there's 4 wide receivers set, Evans, Godwin, Ibuka, and then who's covering Jalen McMillan? he's going to be able to win a lot of those one-on-one matchups. So I don't think that he is going to be in a position where you're banking on him for too much. Justin says, does Tez still get more reps than him? Maybe in the first game, but as you go on, no. I think you'll see Tez in maybe gadget plays, certain situations where you're going to need him more on special teams, right? Tez to be able to go out there, and you're looking for splash plays with Tez. His reps are going to hurt them. Him and Shepard, those are the two guys. Those repetitions, they're going to be taken away from those guys. Because as far as shorthanded, as far as knowing the routes and the reliability and the trust factor, I mean, Tez is behind Sterling Shepard too. Tim Word, you're right. Defense got to step up and cause 3 and outs. Get off the field on third down, Timothy. I'm with you. What's up to my man, Bart Hill? Okay, so Larry Foote spoke yesterday, one of the Bucs defensive coaches. And I just, when you hear what Larry Foote had to say yesterday, I was not thrilled by his comments. I got to be honest with you. He's talking about this team, and he would say he's making these comments of, well, I would assume this is the reason why they brought him in here. And I'm just like, why? Why are you assuming that? Why don't you know? Why don't the Buccaneers, why doesn't everybody that is involved with this process know why JPP is here? It didn't really make much sense for me. When I look at the Bucs, right? Hold on one second. I want to make sure I got everything in here for you guys. One second. Oh, here we go. I wanted to get the right quote here. They sent out the quotes on email yesterday, and instead of playing it, I wanted you guys to hear it. Okay, so I'm excited about him being back. And this is all the stuff about JPP. I'm excited about him being back, my all-time favorite player. I think we're looking for some juice, looking for some energy. Wasn't necessarily about what my guys were doing. Those guys are trending. They're playing well. He's been on the internet looking good, working out, and he's been making a couple phone calls. So we gave him a workout the other day, and he looked good. Okay. What makes him? He's everybody's favorite. The building is geeked up when he comes in here from the equipment room, training room. He just has that personality. You guys have been around him. He's just an awesome dude. He loves ball, and he's a dog. All right. So here's the thing. And this is I think the biggest, whether it's good or bad or what have you. Rick Stroud from the Tampa Bay Times was very blunt in asking this question to Larry Foote about how this move of bringing Jason Pierre-Paul in sounds like, and it just reeks of desperation. And here's kind of the answer. He said, we're not looking specifically, I don't want to speak for Jason Light and Todd Bowles, but it wasn't just for the outside linebackers. He's a guy that can bring some of the intangibles that we cannot bring as coaches that I think he can help. I'm not speaking for those guys. That's the way I'm looking at it. His energy and his juice. We'll see what he can do the next couple of weeks. This is a short week. We'll see if he has something in the tank. We worked him out, and he looked good. I worked him out personally. He can still move and bend. He has that God-giving freaking ability, and we'll see what he can do next week. Listen again. He's a guy that can bring some of the intangibles that we cannot bring as coaches that I think he can help. I'm not speaking for those guys. That's the way I'm looking at it. His energy and his juice. We'll see what he can do the next couple of weeks. This is a short week. We'll see if he has something in the tank. Guys, this is not good. That is not good. You are telling me that you are going to bring in a guy off the street, and I told you yesterday how much I love JPP. USF, Giants, Bucks, there is nobody that I followed closer over the years than this guy. Freaking love this dude. But what does this say about the Buccaneers? If you're telling me that your outside linebacker group and your defense as a whole doesn't have juice when you have Levante David, when you have Vita Vea, when you have Antoine Winfield Jr., when you have Jamel Dean, you have Zion McCollum, what does that say about the players inside the locker room? What does that say about the coaching staff? You're bringing him in more for the intangibles than what he can do? Then why not bring him in as a coach? I don't understand that. And listen, I'm not mad at Larry Foote. It's honest. That's a freaking problem. Guys, I can't stress to you how much of a problem that is. And listen, here's the thing. It's a problem, but he's not wrong. You hear this a lot, and we're going to talk about it even more in depth with Beckles and Recher later on at 3:15 today with Ian. But I've been in that locker room before. I've been in the locker room when it was just Gerald, when it was Gerald and JPP. It was different when JPP got there. It was different. JPP was a guy that didn't care about what was said. He knew that you got to produce on the field. Jason Pierre-Paul is a dog. He is a guy that I just loved watching play. But the fact that there's nobody inside the Buccaneers locker room right now that has any of the intangibles that Jason Pierre-Paul has, he hasn't played in over a year. Do you guys understand how difficult that is to comprehend? Maybe they need more people to step up. Maybe they need more people to challenge the authority then, if that's the case, instead of everybody just falling in line. If you need to bring somebody that hasn't played in over a year for juice, this is on, again, and you want to talk about whose fault it is, this is on the players for not digging deep and taking that next step. This is on Jason Light for not addressing this until week 15 in the regular season. This is on Todd Bowles. This is on everybody. The fact that you got to bring in JPP for juice and you got to bring JPP in for intangibles, what does that say about Levante David? What does that say about Vita Vea? What does that say about Antoine Winfield Jr.? What does that say about Yaya Diaby? What does it say about those guys? Because all four of those guys are playing. I'm not bringing up Kalijah Kancey. I'm not talking about Hassan Reddick, who's just a mercenary that's been here for 1 year. We know how Jamel Dean and Zion McCollum, they're not rah-rah guys. They're both those two dudes are as soft-spoken as they come. Those aren't the guys that are firing you up. You remember the video when Jamel had a great game and Baker walked by, he goes, "Oh, thanks, Baker." They're not those guys. But I think this is such a bad thing when you're talking about the lack of accountability and the lack of intangibles and the lack of intensity and the accountability and the leadership on the defensive side of the ball. This isn't something that's an opinion. This isn't what I think. This is what I'm judging this team on based on the decisions that they have made. This is not something that I'm pulling out of my ass and trying to act like I have any inside information. I didn't bring in JPP. They did. I didn't say what Larry Foote said. He said it. We're bringing him in more than just for the outside linebackers. Think about that. It'd be one thing if he said he's a guy, and you lead with this. It'd be one thing if you said, hey, this is a guy that he still has some left in the tank. We haven't gotten enough from our pass rushers lately. And we're hoping that him in that room can rub off on some of these guys and he can produce. I think everybody, whether you agree or disagree with that rationale, you would understand. You would understand a little bit. Okay, I get it. But when Larry Foote tells us that he can bring in some intangibles on the team, to the team, that aren't there right now. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And then when you sit here and you tell us that my guys are playing good, I'm excited about him being back, my all-time favorite player. I think we're looking for some juice, looking for some energy. Wasn't necessarily about what my guys are doing. Those guys are trending. They're playing well. He's been on the internet looking good, working out, and he's been making a couple phone calls. So we gave him a workout the other day, and he looked good. Does that not bother anybody else? Just that quote? Does that not bother you guys? You have a guy in Hassan Reddick that you paid $15 million to. You have a guy in Chris Braswell that's a second-round pick out of Alabama. You have a guy like Yaya Diaby who wants to be considered one of these elite pass rushers. You have a guy like Anthony Nelson who's kind of a pro's pro, solid backup in the league. You have Vita Vea that's been out there pretty much every game. And you need more juice? You need more energy? It wasn't necessarily about what your guys are doing? Really? Give me some honesty. Give me some honesty. Tell me that the guys aren't producing enough. I hate this shit, man. When it comes to these, listen, it's one thing you want to defend your players. It's one thing that you don't want to throw them under the bus. Fine. But again, if you're telling me that your guys are trending and that they're playing well, you're just lying. You're lying. You don't want to point anybody out individually? Fine. We get that. I understand that. But don't tell me these guys are playing well. Does anybody honestly think that the pass rushers are playing well? Please, God. No freaking way. No way. This is going back to the Byron Leftwich thing from a couple of years ago. I think somebody just said that in the chat. When he's sitting there and he's like, oh, the numbers are blah, blah, blah. Nah, bro, you're last in the league in rushing yards. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. The numbers tell us that's exactly where you rank. Last, dead last, 32nd in all of football. That's not us. That's not us picking on you. That's not us digging some stat and doing homework and just trying to be so pessimistic that we want to make you look bad. No, you're just not good. And now we have Larry Foote up there telling us that this pass rush is trending and this pass rush is playing well, and that you brought in a guy that did not play last year to bring your entire defense energy and juice and intangibles that they don't have. Why the hell else would you bring in that guy at this time of the season? I don't get it, buddy. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Now, I want to answer this, okay? Because I spoke to this, and we're going to talk about this later with Ian. With Vita Vea soaking up double and triple teams virtually every play, how can neither of our DE get sacks? I'm going to tell you this. He does it. He does it. Does he get double teamed? Yes. Does he get double and triple teamed every play? No. Watch. Go watch. I feel like we've just been falling into that type of thing. Well, Vita gets double teamed. That's why he doesn't make plays. Go watch when he's single covered. Go watch it. Go back and watch the game. Go check out the percentage of how many times he gets double teamed. It's not 100%. It's not. Go back and watch. Tell me how many times he wins when it's one-on-one. Not enough. Not enough. If he was getting double and triple teamed every single play, you would see a difference, but they're not. Go back and watch the tape. Watch specifically when he's out there against the Atlanta Falcons, how often they double team him. Make a tally. Write them down. It's not as often as you think. And again, Ian has said it multiple times. He makes one play a game. It's about it. It's about it. But he's a leader on this team. He's a guy with a Super Bowl ring. And it boggles my mind that that's where we're at with this team. We're at the point where you're questioning the juice and you're questioning the energy of your defense, so much so that you make a desperate move by bringing in Jason Pierre-Paul, a guy that hasn't suited up in the NFL in over a year. No bueno. No bueno. Not good at all. All right. So before we get to our pal, Erik Erlendsson at 1 o'clock, guys, make sure you're following me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Make sure you're checking out our friends, Honest Hammer Custom Builders. I saw Russ, our guy Hammer, was in the chat a little while ago, 813-244-0956 for all your residential and commercial needs. EverHealth, everhealth.org, man. 17 different locations in Pinellas County. They want to help you out from the cradle to the grave. They do everything to help you out here in Pinellas County. Healthcare, I mean, it's the new age with healthcare. It really is. I went over there to check out Dr. Carlos Rodriguez. He joins us at 12:30 tomorrow. Love EverHealth. It's so clean and nice. They have a sliding scale for the uninsured. They take all kinds of insurance. So if you're looking for another healthcare place, somebody that really cares about you, everhealth.org. And yeah, I got my hard hat here for Honest Hammer, baby. Honest Hammer, spoke to him yesterday. He's going to stay on with us in 2026. Very excited about that. So shout out to Russ and the crew over there at Honest Hammer. They are the best for all your residential commercial needs. New videos or new pictures up on the website as well, thehonesthammer.com. Shoot them an email, thehonesthammer@gmail.com. They're the best, man. You get a discount if you mention the Recher podcast. They also help out our first responders as well. Okay, so once again, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud because I've been waiting for somebody. I've been waiting for anybody to echo these sentiments. Baker Mayfield needs to step up in these next 4 games. It confuses me that how things go. And I just think about if Jameis Winston was in this situation right now and he's played like how he's played, if Jameis played like Baker in the last 6 games, Jameis Winston would be topic A or B out of everybody's mouth when it comes to why this team is struggling. But we don't get that. Not here. Not when he's only thrown for over 200 yards once in the last 6 games. He's not accurate with the football. And yes, I mean, some of the guys are dropping passes, yes, but he has to own his fair share as well. And ironically enough, the one thing I don't put on him is that interception because Cam Johnson cut off his route and he didn't fight to get in front of that cornerback. But there's just other passes, time and time again, touch passes, passes that are intermediate, passes that are down the field where he just does not connect with his receivers. And he has to play at an MVP level for this team to get back to where they were in the beginning of the year. And it's weird. Like, do you guys get that too? Do you hear anybody else calling out Baker Mayfield? And again, it's not personal. Not personal at all. Love the guy. I think he's been fantastic. But he has been before the last 6 weeks. He's so freaking tough, man. He puts his shoulder down. He leaves it all out there. I'm not ever worried about the lack of effort for Baker Mayfield on the field. But you got to be more accurate. You got to execute, my man. That's it. That is it. Go out there and be accurate with the football. And maybe getting guys like Mike and Jalen back are going to help. But we've seen him accurate at other times without those guys. Remember last year in Kansas City? How good was Baker in that game with Ryan Miller? So don't give me this whole thing of like, oh, it's only because this guy. Again, enough with the excuses. Enough with the caveats why this guy and that guy and all that other shit. No. These guys individually have to step up and play better. That's it. And it starts with Baker Mayfield. Everybody wants to talk about Jason Light and Todd Bowles and their culpability. And yes, they deserve blame. But it starts and ends with number 6, just like it starts and ends with a quarterback on every single team. And of course, it had to be my guy T-Crest. Thanks, Hammer. Has talked about Baker needing to be better. I agree with you, Jay. I do think he's an emotional guy, and sometimes he gets down. We need him to be the Jose. Has it been confirmed Mike is coming back on Thursday? Not confirmed, but all signs are trending that he will be playing Thursday night as well, which is good. Good. I'm glad Tom has. And I swear, if you asked me if there was one person that would, it would be Tom. Tom understands. Baker's got to be better. And I'm sure Tom has gotten into this as well. I heard him speak earlier this week. I didn't hear him say anything about Baker at that time, but I was in and out of the car. But Baker was getting all the love in the beginning of the year. Baker was getting all of this attention when it came to MVP. And his play is dipped. And it's slipped. And he's not playing at that level. And the Bucks need him to. It's not always when you make certain plays, or it's not. Sometimes that's the most important thing. It's when you make those plays. It's when you throw the interception. It's when you throw the touchdown pass. It's when you run for the first down. And we need that from Baker Mayfield. And I think at times we are so grateful for what he's able to do on the ground. But I think what we really need to see from Baker Mayfield is we need to see clutch throws. We need to see, when's the last clutch throw Baker Mayfield has made? He's got that clutch gene. He knows how to wiggle outside of the pocket. He knows how to juke the defender and run for the first down. The heart that shows, it's just such a joy to watch. We love that. But we need strikes. We need a guy that's going to throw the ball over the plate, to use a baseball term. We need him to be able to make strong throws to these receivers in clutch moments, on third downs, in the red zone, fourth quarter. That's what you need. I remember back to what Joe Urso was saying. University of Tampa, baby. If you haven't seen the ring, I'm showing it as often as possible, baby. There's the ring. UT all day, baby. How about it? Recher on the side if you need it. Recher on the side. Recher on the side. Joe would always say 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's where championships are won and lost. For football, it's the last 2 minutes. Last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter and in overtime. And I see what you're saying, buddy. You made a clutch throw on Sunday, but it was dropped. You're right. You're right. But that's just one. You got to be able to make more. He had another opportunity. He had 1:50 on the clock in the fourth. They weren't able to even get a first down. It can't just be one. It's got to be multiple. Baker has to own this. The only way that this team is going to right the ship is if their two biggest names find a way to change it. And that's Todd Bowles with this defense, and that's Baker Mayfield with the offense. That's it. And this is a good question. Has he lost confidence in his receivers? I don't know. I don't think so. And if he has, you can't. You can't do that. It's your job. I'm coming right back to you. You dropped one fine. And we have seen that at times where a guy drops a pass, and what does Baker do? Goes right back to him, whether that's Emeka, whether that's Godwin. And that's one thing, answering your question, I would say no. You can't. You can't be successful that way. If you're like, oh, I didn't make that throw on 3rd and 11 and try to run and only got 6 yards because I didn't trust Sterling Shepard, a guy that I've known since college, right? Like think about that when you say it out loud, right? You can't be successful that way. You can't. And we know with Baker and how many different guys, and here's the reason why that we know that he hasn't, is because when he threw that interception, who was it to? It was Cam Johnson. He was trying to go to him. He throws the ball to Tez. He throws the ball to Chris. He throws the ball to Emeka. Even if they drop him, even if they don't run the routes right, Baker has to trust them. That's the only way that you're going to be able to perform in the National Football League as a quarterback. That's it. So I wouldn't say that. It's not a bad question. I'm glad we were able to address it. But Thursday night is going to be a real test on whether this offense can take a step in the right direction. We said the same thing about Sunday's game against the Saints, where even if you win, it's just like you're supposed to win that game, and they didn't. So kind of a lose-lose scenario there. This game with the Falcons, we know what their record is, but we know that when these two teams get together, it's going to be a tight game. This is an opportunity for the Buccaneers to show everybody that they still have a pulse, that their heart is still beating. And who is the heartbeat of this team? It's Baker Mayfield. He has to come out and he has to show those type of throws and that type of leadership ability that we saw in the beginning of the season. Because if not, this team is in big trouble. He's getting his full complement of receivers back. No excuses anymore. If Tristan, that's what I'm saying. Like, we want to eliminate all the excuses, the reasons, the caveats, the reasons why this team can't perform at a high level. Josh Grizzard and why he can't do what he can't do. Liam Cohen was doing what he did in the middle of the season last year. They were still putting up 30 without Mike and Chris Godwin. So I don't want to hear that. And you have all three of your running backs healthy. If Tristan plays, you have 3/5 of your offensive line. You're going to get all of your receivers back for the first time this year. And you have Baker Mayfield, who didn't even look like he really took a hard hit in New Orleans. What's your excuse? There is no excuse. Tomorrow night, you got to go out there. You got to put points up. Make a statement. I'm challenging the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just like I challenged USF opening night against Boise State. I'm challenging the Bucs. Go out there and make a freaking statement. Go hang 45 on these guys. Go win this game 45-7, 45-10, 45-3. Shut them out. How about a nice 30-0 shutout tomorrow night? You getting mad? Are you mad about the newspaper clippings that were singing your praises earlier in the year? Are you mad that people are talking about you faltering? Are you mad that people are talking about, here comes Dave Canales and the Carolina Panthers nipping at your heels at the top of the division? You're going to blow it. Are you mad? Go out there and show it. Go out there and show it. Jay is drunk. Why am I drunk? I don't drink. Not really. I'll have a glass of wine here or there, but I definitely don't drink. Lost Thursday would feel like the beginning of the end of the Top Bowls era. A win puts you at 8-6 with a few extra days to get ready for Carolina. Big swing game tomorrow night. You got that right, buddy. I just saw some news here. I want to make sure. Come on. Just saw that Griffin Jax is going to pitch for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. That's good. I like that. Like it a lot. Wow, from Jeff Passan. John Heyman. First baseman Pete Alonso, Tampa's own Plant High graduate, Florida Gator, is heading to the Baltimore Orioles on a 5-year, $155 million contract, $31 million a year. I know a lot of teams didn't want to go after 3 or 4 years. Baltimore gives him 5, so he stays in the East. He goes to the AL, not to the Red Sox, not to the Yankees. He goes to Baltimore. Wow, unbelievable. And you think with Pete Alonso, the consummate professional there, you look at their what their infield could look like with Alonso, Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson. Watch out now. Adley Rutschman. I mean, you're looking for the Baltimore Orioles to take that next step. They really invested into a guy in Pete Alonso. They still need to focus on their pitching. They traded Grayson Rodriguez. But wow, good for him. Go get that money, buddy. Go get that money. Thank you to Michael LaRue for letting us know about that one. I don't want to win. I just want to whip their candy asses. And that's the bottom line. Because Ashan says so. To be honest, Top Bowls era probably already coming to an end. I see the writing on the wall. If they lose, yeah, I hear you. If we couldn't do it against our most hated rival, why should they show up with more juice for any other game? They won't. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. Let's be real. In 7 seasons, calling the defense, it's been more bad than good with Todd Blows. Yeah, I mean, we're going to see how that entire situation goes. But we'll get back to that here momentarily. Todd does need a playoff win to keep his job, and according to our guy, CJ Hall, we'll see, man. We'll see. But tomorrow night, a huge game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they face off with the Atlanta Falcons. All right, let's switch gears and talk about things that make us happy, including the Tampa Bay Lightning. And that's our guy, Erik Erlendsson, lightninginsider.com. What's up, brother? How are you?
Good morning, at least for me anyway.
Just wake up?
No, I've been up for about an hour.
About an hour. About an hour. You get the alarm clock set, man. He is here with us. I said last night too that, or I said earlier today on the show that the Bucks can really learn something from the Lightning. You get an opportunity last night, where if they lose that game to Montreal, everybody's like, all right, well, you lost 4 in a row, back-to-back, Johansson, you lose Hetty in the first. But, man, what a show of resolve and resilience for this team last night. I thought it was the most impressive victory of the season. Do you agree?
I
think it's up there.
Well, yeah, I'd have to go through it in my head. It's certainly up there. The circumstances, having lost 4 in a row, shut out in back-to-back games. You're playing on back-to-back nights. Playing on back-to-back nights against a team like Montreal who can skate you out of the building if you let them, right? With some of the young talent that they have. I mean, look, I don't know how many times I heard Lane Hutson's name last night, and he is a dynamic player. He is dynamic, and so is Demidov. And Demidov had a couple of good looks. He had the puck on his stick a lot, but like he didn't look too dangerous at times. So it's. And Johansson starting on back-to-back nights, which, listening to Dave last night, it's only the second time he's done that in his career, starting on back-to-back nights. Ironically, the same MO Toronto, Montreal. But, it certainly was an impressive victory. And, the fact that they got that goal from Braden Point 2.5 minutes in, it felt like once that happened, like the pressure just released.
It was huge,
right?
Yeah.
You finally scored after being shut out in back-to-back games. You got it from a guy who's had struggles scoring goals this year, and he's a goal scorer. And the manner in which Braden, that was a Braden Point goal, right? In a lot of ways. So it felt like getting that goal early on just released the pressure and let them go play.
Yeah, it was a beautiful goal from Braden Point, and I just love that you're getting contributions from everybody. And that's why I'm just so impressed with this team. And you talk about a guy like Charles Destu, and you wrote such a great article on the guy, and a +5 last night, Double E. This guy, he's been, I wouldn't even say better than advertised, because he wasn't advertised. This guy's come out of nowhere, and he's one of the most important players on this team.
Especially in a game like last night where you do lose Hedman one period into the game, right? And he's an amazing story, and it just keeps getting better and better. Like I've covered enough guys who are from Quebec that their first game back in Montreal is special. And for him to go back there at the age of 27, running around the minors, playing in Europe for 3 years, to get that first game back in Montreal, not only you score a goal, you're a +5, you play almost 24 minutes of ice time. He got himself on the score sheet with a couple of penalties as well. But, and look, if anybody saw the picture on the team's, Twitter feed last night, he had about 40 friends and family in the building there to watch him play. And, I saw a video before the game. There was a couple of kids down by the glass who had their Dastu jerseys on, as during warm-up, which was really cool to see. It must have been I can't imagine, again, having covered plenty of French-Canadian players who go back to Montreal for the first time, I can't imagine how special of a night that was for Charles-Edouard Dastu, who just keeps getting better and better. Sitting next to Chief every night, he just raves about his first pass. And that's such an underrated part of a defenseman's game. How well can they get the puck up the ice and moving quickly under duress, under pressure? Like, turnovers happen in games. Certainly we know that. You don't normally see him too often making a bad play out of his own zone, right? All these times that the team can get caught in their own end, it's not usually at the end of a destitute pass. And he's become such an important player on this team that it's hard to think that, a year ago, really nobody knew who this guy was because, he played in the ECG, barely got time in the AHL. He's playing in Europe for 3 years, undrafted. Like he's an amazing story, and it's kind of fun to continue to watch it, see play.
You want any sauce on your tenders? That's a good question.
Yeah, that's my dad. In case.
Hey, Pops, Pop Erlendsson in the house, another double E. What a great name. And Darren Radish too. I mean, I texted him last night too, just to let him know, like, hey man, you're a bad MFer. What a great story for another guy, E. Because listen, we were here 2-3 weeks ago wondering if he was the odd man out, and what has happened since then? His wife gave birth to a little one. The story came out about his dad having stage 4 cancer, and it looked like he was not long for this team. And then injuries occur, and he's just gotten better and better and better. And I don't know if there's any question. This is definitely the best hockey of his career. He looks so confident on the puck. He looks confident without the puck. He scored 2 goals last night, but the best play he made was on the play where Johansson fumbled the puck behind the net. It got out in front, and he dove to knock the puck away. And I'm like, dude, you're just on another level right now. And you know him as well as I do. Like, he's such a great guy. He bided his time there in Syracuse in the AHL, but man, it's just so great to be able to see him go out there. The goal he scored last night with literally no net to shoot at. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy, but he is just, again, that's how you make up for these guys not being in there, right? Like any other team loses their top 3 defensemen, they're going to the bottom of the standings, not the top. Yeah. The way the Lightning have been able to do it because of guys like Dastu and a guy like Darren Radish, no doubt. And
the irony there is that when those guys were healthy, they were at the bottom. When they went out is when they went up. No, I mean, 3 or 4 games into the season, right? You think of some of the mistakes that he made. And we had this conversation on the air, off the air. I don't know where Darren Radish fits in now, right? Like with Crozier here, basically taking his spot, and, he's going to be the 7th guy. Maybe he might end up being the 8th guy. And then the injuries happen, and he flourishes. And certainly there's a lot of inspiration, behind the play, and, certainly what goes on in life is always it's always on your mind, right? It's tough to play through. It's tough to do anything in life when you're dealing with something like that, when you know what's coming, right? So for him to be able to find that refuge on the ice with his teammates, that second family situation, right, with the hockey team, he's just come out of, I don't want to say a shell a little bit, but his game is just rounded out. And, the knock on Darren Radish his entire career going back to junior was he's a great offensive player, not very good in his own end, doesn't seem to know where to go at times, and, makes some questionable decisions with the puck. But all that's gone out the window since he got back in the lineup, because it was those mistakes that he was the odd man out, 4 or 5 games into the season. And then to watch him find the confidence with his offense again, I think I saw a stat. This is before last night, the 2 goals last night. I think since the middle of November, or, something like in the last 15 games, the only defenseman with more points than Darren Radish is Zach Werenski, right? So that's how good of production he's been having offensively, but it's plays like what you just mentioned. And he's had a couple of those plays where he's been in the right spot and reading the play correctly. And if you want to say he's in a zone, he's in a little bit of a zone right now. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of that comes with the fact that he's playing a lot, so you don't have a ton of time to think or worry too much about your last shift. You have to get ready for the next shift because he is playing 22, 25. We saw him play 27 minutes, a number of games back. So I think that has just helped free his mind a little bit, right? Because he knows if he makes a mistake, he's going to go back out there, where maybe at the beginning of the year he made a mistake and it cost him a spot in the lineup. So he's just playing, and it's fun to see. It's, and then the inspiration behind it all. It's just there again, great stories. And when guys get injured, who's going to step up and fill the void? And I think one of the things that John Cooper has said many times during this stretch of games, that it's not next man up, it's next man in, because Darren Radish is not going to replace what Victor Hedman does, right? Charles-Edouard Dastu was not going to come in and replace what Ryan McDonough does, right? They're different players, but you have to go out and be who you are. And they're finding that that's been successful in terms of getting guys to buy into the way that they want them to play. And that's not always easy when literally from night to night, you have no idea who's going to be in the lineup.
Yeah, and I want to give credit to a guy like J.J. Moser, too, because I think his solid play has settled things down, and they've had a nice little rapport, the two of them, Moser and Radish, and we'll see. Yeah, I mean, you see Hedman returned to the lineup last night, and he's playing with Max Crozier. So it's like, hey, they're not trying to mess up with that, trying to mess that thing up at all.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right. Where's your level of concern as far as Victor Hedman?
Well, when you try and read between the lines of John Cooper speak, and when John Cooper
you're an expert at
says he's concerned, there's concern.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Like there's concern, because normally he would kind of dance around it, or he wouldn't come out and answer it the way that he did last night after the game. And it sounds like it's the same injury that kept him out for 12 games, and that's concerning, right? 3 games in, and it's aggravated. I mean, even use the word aggravated, re-aggravated something last night. So man, you hope it's not anything that's long-term. It doesn't sound good. And on top of everything else, man, I hope this doesn't hurt his Olympic chances.
That's what I was thinking.
Like he hasn't had the chance to play in the Olympics yet. Because, not going in 18, and then 22 happened, and he wasn't picked for the team in 14, which is crazy to think about. So yeah, there's definitely some concern there that he couldn't play more than 2 games without re-aggravating whatever it was that was bothering him.
Yeah, no good. We still are waiting for an answer for your chicken. What kind of sauce do you have with the chicken tenders?
They're having lunch at my dad's house, and I wasn't able to make it because I was sleeping. So they're bringing me lunch home. So that's why they're asking me about the tenders. I'm surprised I haven't gotten texts from the boys.
So what kind of sauce do you want? Answer the question.
I have ranch here. I use ranch with my chicken tenders.
All right, well, let him know. He wants to know. It's a father who wants to know. He wants to know about his boy. We love you, Mr. E. The original Double E, we'll call him. I want to ask you, too, last night, and we're going to keep it positive because I wanted to – I saw something last night with Point, Gensel, and Bjorkstrand where Oliver was playing a little bit differently. And I feel there was like a backhand, like saucer pass that he had coming into the zone to Gensel on the right wing. And I go, I haven't seen that with him playing with Gordon and some of those bottom 6 guys. I feel like this is, I don't want to say a last ditch effort, but I feel like with Cirelli, Hagel, and Kucherov kind of settling into, kind of a nice combo right there. I feel like this is the chance, right? This is the chance. Wondering if Point and Gensel, who's going to play with them. I mean, you brought in Bjorkstrand to be a top 6 guy. Do you think they're going to probably give that line a little bit of a run here over the next couple of games to see if you can get the best out of 22?
I would think so.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, this is the good problem to have, but, Bjorkstrand goes up to the second line. Nick Paul's on the 4th line, right? Like Nick Paul is not a 4th line guy. So I mean, look, we know with Coop, especially how quickly the lines can change, right? All it takes is a couple bad shifts and boom, the shuffle happens. But there's no doubt you need to get Oliver Bjorkstrand going. I certainly see the criticism for a colorful, nice, non-colorful word to describe how people feel about Oliver Bjorkstrand. And we've had this conversation many times. He hasn't played much of a top six role here at all since he got here, right? We wondered maybe he was the guy with Hagel and Cirelli, and they never actually even gave that one much of a chance outside of practice. So, but you need to get him going. Playing with Jay Gensel, that can certainly help, right? He's such a smart player and certainly knows where to go and where to be and defensively responsible. And, he made a nice play to get the puck to Gensel to set up Braden Point's goal. It happens in the defensive zone, but he's on his knees and he makes sure he gets the puck to him. I like the power play obviously is where you want him to be a guy, and he hasn't been that guy. He's got 2 power play goals this year, but the second one in Washington wasn't really a power play goal. It was just happened to come on the power play off of a rebound. He's a shooter, and shooters need setup guys, right? And we haven't seen him this year be in the spots 5-on-5 to take advantage of that wrist shot. I mean, that's a shot. That's what's made him a multi-20 goal scorer in this league. And he's just not in those spots. And whether that's because of who he plays with, because of the system, right. I mean, like the comment down there, sometimes the players you acquire don't fit your system. And I think, look, before he got hurt last year, he was fitting in just fine. He found his groove. He was finding, what he wanted to be and where he fit in this. And it just hasn't been there this year. But like people want to jettison him away. And I get it, because 2 goals, 30 goals in the season is not something, or 30 games into the season is not something you expected out of Oliver Bjorkstrand. But he can be a difference maker, and you just need to find him the right fit.
So you mentioned the Nick Paul going to the 4th line. So does that Gord Gergenson's Holmberg line, that's considered the 3rd line, but do they score enough to be the 3rd line? I think that this team would be better if they were quote unquote the 4th line. You get Bjorkstrand to kind of work out with that 2nd line, and then your 3rd line is Paul, James, and Gonsalves, and then your 4th line is Gordon and the rest of those guys. I think that's another thing that they got to figure out, because I think if they don't score enough, I don't know if you can have that line and then another line with like a Sabrin, Douglas. Like, I don't know if that works either.
Well, if you have a Sabrin, you have a Douglas, they're automatically going to be your 4th line guys.
Yeah,
right?
no doubt. That's why I say that.
Especially with the ice time. Yeah. It's I think that the Gord line can score. I think, look at the hands that Holmberg showed last night, right, on the breakaway and opening up the 5-hole the way he did. I don't know if he's a 20 goal scorer, but he can pop in, I think, 10 to 12. We know what Gord is capable of doing. Gergenson's just had a ton of chances. He's already up to 5 goals this year.
Watch out.
So I think, and especially how much time they spend in the offensive zone.
Yeah, you're right.
Occasionally, you're just going to look and like I was looking at the stats last night. I couldn't believe it. I think they were 24-9 in shot attempts, with that line on the ice last night, and in their favor. Like, it's incredible how much time they spend in the offensive zone. And they've set up some really good chances. Even the game against Toronto, I mean, Gergenson's even said it after the game. He felt he had 3 grade A chances. He's got to bury one of those, right? Like, that's just the mentality. So are they Coleman, Goodrow, and Gord? I don't think they're that kind of an offensive 3rd line, but I think that they have the capabilities of being a 3rd line that can score.
Yeah, we're going to find out. And, we'll see when guys come back. What do we know as far as the injuries? Who do you think will be next coming back on the horizon there, E?
Probably McDonough.
Okay.
It's been a couple of setbacks, and getting him back out on the ice was kind of indicated that, today is Wednesday. Maybe by Saturday, if not by Saturday, maybe Monday against Florida, we might see McDonough. Now we got to see him skating, right? He was skating and then he wasn't. So, that's the first one we got to see. The team is actually flying. They should be in the air right now heading to Newark. So they won't skate today. So they'll have a morning skate tomorrow before facing the Devils. So we'll see if he comes out on the ice because he was supposed to skate last week, right? He signed the extension and we thought he was going to be on the ice that day and he wasn't. So, obviously a little bit of a setback in his recovery, but indications are that by this weekend or early next week, he should be back. So he should be the next guy back, depending on what's going on with Victor Hedman, but certainly it doesn't sound like Hedman will be available tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on the roster situation because it's literally in flux every day.
Yeah, pretty much. You think there's going to be any?
Go ahead.
I
say we're not sure about Vasilevsky either, right? Because we were
Right.
kind of told, well, if he doesn't start this, he'll start the next game. Well, if he doesn't start this game, he'll start the next game. And he ends up on IR, which sometimes is more just formalities because it just opens up roster spots. So we'll see where Vasilevsky is if he's going to miss any more time than he has, because he is eligible to come off IR now. So we'll see what that means for tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on see whether Halverson continues to stay here or not.
Monday, do you expect fireworks?
Well, we thought we were going to get fireworks last time.
That's why.
And we didn't. Look, I still think this because even that game, there wasn't what we thought it was going to be.
But it was intense.
It was intense. You could feel it. Even watching on television, you could feel it. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of emotion in that game. Even Dan Heino, who we had a chance to talk to a couple of days after, said that they put a lot of emotion into that game, right? And that's kind of how they faded the next day against Vancouver after the great first period that they had. So there's definitely going to be a lot of build up to that game once again. I think there's going to be a lot of emotion invested in it once again. We'll see if Sabourin sticks around through Monday. If he's here for the next 2 games and is in the lineup again on Monday, because Sabourin tried to settle some scores, right? How many times did he ask AJ Greer to go? And AJ Greer said no, right? So Sabourin went about his business, quote unquote, the right way in that game last month against the Panthers. So I lean more towards yes, fireworks, but as we saw in the last game, nobody wants to light the fuse.
Right.
But once that fuse is lit, watch out.
Get lit, baby. As my old co-host Zach Lobner used to say, get lit. And I am definitely breaking out the gold spikes again. Because Coop wasn't there when I had my gold spikes on, and I told him that I was going to wear it for the Panthers game. So the gold spikes are coming out Monday night. What do we got up on lightninginsider.com right now, my friend?
Hey, real quick, let me ask you this question. So the Radish goal last night,
right?
If that's scored against you, is that a bad goal?
No.
No?
Okay. Because there's always goals like that in hockey where if you fit that little slit right there, and I've seen goals like that scored against Brodeur and Patrick Waugh and Vasilevsky, and it's just like you cover as much as you can, but your shoulder, I had a coach tell me this one time, your shoulder's created like this, the post is created like this. You hug as close as humanly possible there, but even if you're hugging close, there is still a little bit of an area right there. I just sometimes you just got to tip your hat.
I agree, but I see plenty of people. If Vasilevsky had given up that goal, they call it a bad goal, right? Connor Bedard scored a goal like that against Vazzy last year, right? Small little window, and that's a bad goal, and that's always my litmus test for situations like that, right? If it happened against you, how do you feel? If it happens for you, how do you feel? And if they're completely different, well, you have to have a different perspective.
I always think short side goals like that, up high like that, it's just like you see like once a year. Like it happens once a year. You know what I mean? So it's just like, is it a bad goal? Nah, not really. I mean, I don't think it's a mistake. Like, Darren
Radish could probably take that, and this is not a knock on Darren Radish, but anybody could take that shot 50 times, and it might only go in once.
Yeah, it might not go in at all.
Right. Yeah.
It might not even hit the net. Yeah, it's hard, man. So,
but it was a hell of a shot.
Yeah, for sure. All right, lightninginsider.com. What do we got up there?
Again, recap from last night, just kind of breaking down a lot of the stuff I talked about with Braden Point sort of relieving the pressure and how that carried through the rest of the game. So how all that went. And, again, 2 plans, monthly, yearly. The yearly plan, use the code JNZ. It's $10 off every single year, not just a one-time discount. So that's JNZ, the letters J, N, and Z. And then the monthly plan is $4.99. Support local media.
I say it all the time, guys, here on the program, support local. Nobody's been covering the Lightning as long as our good friend Erik Erlendsson. Follow him on Twitter/X. That's Erik_Erlendsson. That's a K, not a C, 2 S's after the D. Erik, appreciate you, my friend. I will talk to you next week, and I'll see you, Monday night?
Monday night.
All right, you're the best. Thanks, Erik.
All right, CJ.
Oh, make sure you tell them what sauce you want, you rat bastard. Enjoy your tenders.
Yeah, I will. Thanks.
See you, buddy. The tender. The chicken tender man himself, Erik Erlendsson, lightninginsider.com. He is the best. Again, now's a good time. Lightninginsider.com. Use that promo code JNZ, $10 off, not just this year, but every recurring year. you're looking for, you don't want to get the same thing over and over and over again for your friends and your family. Get them a subscription to lightninginsider.com. $5 a month. Come on, man. You're going to be spending that kind of money on the gift anyway, right? Use your head. Use your head. Be locked in. And especially with the Tampa Bay Lightning, #1, tied for first place of the Atlantic. And when we get closer in football season, especially, I always say support local, especially lightninginsider.com. But when football goes out the window and everybody's looking for that Lightning coverage, Double E's the guy to go check out. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me. Beckles and Recher at 3:15 today from the Dignitary Cafe. Make sure you go check us out over there. Big thank you to Erik Erlendsson, lightninginsider.com. Follow me at JRecher on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. A big thank you to Honest Hammer, Evra Health, and everybody out there that supports the program. You guys are the best. I love you all. Go Lightning, go Pendingos, go everybody. Go Bulls tonight. Go USFBulls.com. And calling out the Buccaneers tomorrow. We'll see what you got tomorrow. Excited for the show. And then tomorrow night, I'll be at Raymond James Stadium. Bucks and Falcons. Hope you will be there too. Michael, I'll get this in because you got it in. Was wondering who you think will be called up to replace Hetty. If it's Carlisle, he only needs one more game for he'll have to go through waivers to be sent back down. Could it be a Groshev then? Santini? Good question. Or do they kind of rock with what they have right now? No, they can't because I have to call somebody up. Good question. Maybe Santini because you have so many left-handed shots because you have two lefties playing together with Dastu and Lilleberg. They're going to have to play with Crozier. So maybe it is lefty. Maybe you go Groshev there. Yeah, maybe that's what you do. Good question. We'll find out soon enough. Appreciate you tuning in, buddy, and appreciate you all. I love you all. We will see you yesterday. We'll see you yesterday. We will not see you yesterday. We'll see you tomorrow at noon right here on the J Recher Podcast. I love you.